Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. This time out, an ultra-compact audio interface that can also allow you to use your computer, your iOS, or your Android device to provide effects when you're playing live through your amplifier. Let's get started. Today we're checking out the OMEC Teleport from Orange Amplification. That's this little box right here, a super compact little pedal that serves as an audio interface for your computer, whether you're running Mac or Windows, or for your iOS device or for your Android device. Now the Teleport can serve a lot of different functions for you. In the studio, it's a super simple audio interface. There's no drivers required. Simply plug it in using a USB cable and you're ready to rock. You can use it as an input to your DAW for recording tracks, and you can monitor using the outputs fed into your studio monitors. You can also use it when you're practicing, set it up with your app, with a looper app, or with an amp app. You can practice along, use your effects, create tones. So lots of things you can do whether you're practicing at home or working in the studio. But because of the way this is set up, you can also use it as an effects device when you're playing live on stage. Simply connect the USB cable to your computer, your iOS device, or your Android device, load up an app that will provide effects for you, put this on your pedal board like any other pedal, and you can access all those effects running in your device and use them through your amplifier live. It's a really cool solution. There's just one control for bypassing the processing. So you have dry signal, or you have process signal. Now this is a buffered bypass, so it won't load down your signal. And the input is set up to have the same kind of input impedance as an amplifier would, so it feels very natural to plug in, and it doesn't load down the pickups in your guitar. We have two outputs, and depending on how you're setting up your app or your DAW, you could use those as stereo outs, or you could use those as two separate outs for feeding two separate chains. The Teleport does require an external power supply. I've got a regular one spot plugged in here to give me 9-volt power. It will not run off bus power, so you do have to have that power supply when you're using it. Let me give you a couple of examples of how you might use the Teleport in your studio or when you're on stage with different apps running on your computer, iOS device, or Android device. Now Teleport comes with Amplitude CS and it's loaded with the Orange amplifiers. So you have a ton of sounds right there, and then of course you can expand Amplitude with lots of other sounds as well. So I've got Amplitude running here, and I've got a simple clean tone set up. The guitar signal is coming out of the guitar into the Teleport. The USB cable is feeding into the computer. Amplitude is processing the sound, adding the amplification emulation. Sound is coming back via USB. The two stereo outs are hooked into my studio monitors and feeding into the cameras as well. Here I've got Positive Grid Bias Amp 2 set up in exactly the same way. My signal is feeding into the Teleport, going through the app, coming back out to my monitors and to the cameras. Of course, a question that will always come up for guitar players is, what about latency? Now the Teleport has extremely low latency, and when we set the buffer down in the app that we're using, it's just like playing through an amplifier. In this case, I've got my buffer set to 32 samples in Positive Grid Bias Amp 2, and so I'm feeling no latency whatsoever. Using a Teleport as an audio interface for your DAW is just as simple. I've got Cubase loaded up here, I've selected as my audio interface, and now I can route my guitar straight in. I can apply inserts or plugins, so we could go ahead and load up Helix Native. Once we have our sound set up here in Helix or whatever plugin we might be using, we can record those tracks straight into our DAW. It's very simple, very easy to use solution. If you're looking for what just may be the easiest and quickest solution for getting your signal into your computer, your iOS device, or your Android device, you definitely want to check out the Teleport from Orange Amplification. Just plug it in and it works. Super easy to use, compact, drops right into your gig bag or your guitar case. Use it at home, use it at rehearsal, use it on stage. Great solution for all kinds of different applications for guitar players and other instrumentalists as well. Plus you can use it as a playback device from whatever you're using to playback music. Really a cool box to have around. Thanks for joining me for Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. Be sure to tune in next time. We'll have more guitars, more amps, more effects, and we'll be making lots of music. I'm Mitch Gallagher.